and why we're here to share this with you. So I know for me over the last 52 and a half years, and for you guys, 21 years and 18 years for the twins, we have had so many amazing women that have influenced us for sure over the years. So this day is an honor to all of them and all of you. And thank you so much for joining. I know that this past year, you guys, has been a challenging year, to say the least, for all of us in so many ways. So hats off to you for just being here and surviving a very unusual year. It's our intention today to create a space for all of us to connect and for you to leave this next hour feeling elevated, empowered, united, as you are reminded that one person can make a difference in this world, and that one person is you. It's all of us. We all get the chance to do that. So just a very brief history on how, the concept, where this all came from. I Believe She's Amazing is a global grassroots movement that I founded, oh my gosh, over
how many
years ago? 11 or 12 years ago. The foundation of this was our dear friend Erica Heller, who very quickly became our forever friend. Many of you are on this call, I'm sure, because you are a part of the I Believe She's Amazing movement. Through her courageous battle with colon cancer, that sadly, she ultimately lost that battle at the tender age of 31. The way she lived her life in the 4 years from the diagnosis till the end of her life was absolutely extraordinary. And it changed us all. And it was, starting that movement was something that we could share with the whole world on how she lived her life, which was in the moment. She took every moment to tell people how she felt, that they were amazing. And she would say, I want you to know, I think you're amazing because. So we're going to leave a challenge for you at the end of this, but we want to start by just giving honor to Erica Heller. So I want to introduce my girls, Madison, who is 21. She's about to be 22. And my twin girls here, Ava and Elle, who are 18. And we want to share with you just a little bit of a dialogue about how creating empowering and supportive relationships can help you flourish and embrace change in this rapidly evolving, changing world. So we're going to open up this discussion a little bit, you guys, by talking about what is it for you guys that allows you to feel supported as young girls who are embarking on your own journey here.
Yeah, so I feel like surrounding yourself with people that believe in you and support your passions. The three of us are taking a non-traditional path in life. We're not going to school right now with COVID. I think a lot of kids our age aren't, and some people are, but we chose to not and do the entrepreneurial route and try it out. And there are just things that would be so much scarier without a support system. And just finding your support system, even if it's not a mother-daughter relationship, but a friend or another family member, just having a support system, they believe in your passions, will really help you succeed in this rapidly changing world.
Yeah, it's also just nice because our mother here,
that's me,
the wonderful woman in my life, she genuinely believes in us, and she believes in everything we do, no matter how far of a stretch it is or how crazy of a goal it may seem. She always makes it known, like, oh yeah, no problem, you guys can do that for sure. And I love that, and I think it's the reason why I've done so many things that I've done until this point, and why I'll continue to grow and just try new things all the time. So whether you want to do that as a friend or you want to do that as a daughter, I always want to support you too.
Yeah,
or a mother supporting their kids, or you support your friends. I love, to keep in contact with my friends and just, check in and be like, what you're doing is amazing, and just, support each other and lift each other up.
So I think something that can help that is just to give people what you want. So when I was 16, I was struggling with my friend group, and I didn't really have anyone I could relate to and who really uplifted and inspired me at the time. And what I started doing was looking online and finding people that I found inspiring, who really posted things that I resonated with. And then I actually reached out to them, and I just said, similar to what we're talking about here, just, hey, I love your work, and I think what you're doing is amazing. And 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, I got a response, and it was a very positive response.
Yeah.
And I ended up forming some amazing friendship with those people. And some of them are actually presenting here today. And so I want to encourage you to not wait for those people to come to you. Go to them, go to your network, go start building that support network for yourself, and give support to other people in your life, the ones that you love, the ones that love you. And it's going to help create more of a supportive feeling in your life and habit. I think it's a habit at the end of the day, and just being intentional about that every day, I think has been very helpful for us and for me
For sure.
personally.
I wanted to ask you guys too, because you have embarked on some very different things at 13 for you guys and 16 for you, Madison. You wrote a novel. You started writing a novel and you've just adapted it into a screenplay, and you've used this time over COVID to turn that into a pitch Bible that you want to create a TV show for Netflix. And I applaud your efforts, because I've never done anything like that. So it's really cool to watch. What would your advice be for young people, of actually anybody of any age watching, to take advantage of this, what feels like a very crazy time in the world?
Yeah, what I have found has been really interesting is just like doing things, like rather than thinking about, like we've been talking about writing a television show or a screenplay forever, and like we wrote the book first, and we've just been talking about it forever. And we just had this pivot in quarantine, actually, where we were, everyone's home every day. We were in high school at the time, so we had schoolwork, but it wasn't taking up our entire day. We still had a lot of time to spare. And I remember us having this moment of just like, why wait for the right time and just start doing it, and teach yourself, or, look out for mentors, and just, like be resourceful. And I found that that's been really helpful.
And it's okay to fail. We've failed many times.
And to get rejection too.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, rejection and failure is a big
normal.
Yeah, and I think by acting and just showing up every day, doing a little action step every day, you will create the right time. And you're not going to start at the right time, but by doing it every day, you're going to create that right time for yourself.
And what we keep saying is like, no matter how many times we fail, like what's gonna get you to that place of success is to just get back up and keep going. Like we just keep saying that, like no matter who turns us down, no matter who doesn't want, whatever we're trying to give them, just, keep moving forward, keep like improving yourself, and you will get there. So
and give yourself the support you want too. Like at the end of the day, write down things that you appreciate about yourself, and make sure that when you look at your actions of the day, think about things that you're proud of. Think about things that give yourself what you want. Give yourself that pat on the back and approval. And that helps you go forward too. Just give yourself what you need, and that's going to really nourish you to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have a support system, create one for yourself. You have to be your biggest fan,
And online, there's so many great articles about that. Like I've learned so much just by searching things up, and even following some of the panelists here today, like Dr. Alfie, she's a mental health expert. So even following, mental health pages and people that you resonate with, there's also some great advice there as well on social media.
Yeah. And I think, the last thing that I wanted to just cover off with you guys is your ability to create a powerhouse network around you, like Dr. Alfie and other people. So you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're not feeling inspired and you're not growing, then just like get that new group of people.
Reach out, start building it yourself.
Exactly. Thank you so much, you guys. I love you. You're amazing. We're going to stick around. Now we wanted to segue into our first guest, our amazing Dr. Alfie. We get the honor and privilege here. I've got my girls here to introduce Dr. Alfie. Dr. Alfie, this is crazy. So Maddie met Dr. Alfie online. I'm just going to actually bring Dr. Alfie up here as a panelist as I'm talking. And Dr. Alfie and us girls, we have not yet met her in person. She has become an extraordinary everyday person in our home. I think we talk about her just about every single day, about how much we love. There's this mutual love going back and forth. She is an absolute pioneer and psychologist. She's a scientist. You'll see her all over Instagram as a media contributor, an author, and a speaker. She has absolutely delved into her passion for helping diverse and marginalized people achieve optimal mental health. She's a mental health expert through research and clinical expertise in depression, anxiety, suicide prevention, and mental illness. And I know we are going through so many challenges right now. She also has some really great podcasts, Couched in Color. You can see all that stuff there. Take a picture of that and follow her on everything. The Acoma Project, just everything. So Dr. Elfie, thank you. We love you. We're sending you so much love here, lady. We love you so much. So thank you for being here. And I'm going to let you take it away.
Oh, you all are so sweet. So can you all hear me? Okay, cool. So I just want to say to all the McGregor women, right, because you are women, thank you so much, because you all are, I almost want to cry, but I put all this makeup on, so I want to cry because I wanted to run all off. But it's my pleasure to be here. I'm going to take about 14 minutes to speak. And I think just what I would love to say first is, I hope everyone sees the visual that I see. And what I see, I'm gonna try not to cry. What I see is all these beautiful rainbow of faces, and how important that is, that at a time like now, that we honor the beauty of the diversity that exists. So one of the reasons I adore the younger women in the family, I adore Mama too, I met the girls first, is that they have such open spirits and such open hearts. And on a day like today, celebrating women all over the globe, with them being my Northern North American family, it's just really important to honor the significance of this being International Women's Day and celebrating all of us who identify as women and femmes, including our transgender sisters. So for me, the ladies embody this. When Madison reached out to me, I think it was like 2018, it's been like 3 years now. So when quarantine is over and we're no longer stuck in the house, like we have plans, all of these families are gonna get together, right? Like that's the thing, that's gonna happen. But I do just wanna honor them and thank them so much for having me, because they are just all angels. So thank you so much. What I want to say to all of you who've joined us, are that there are three things I'm really mindful of as it relates to today and what today means. And for me, those three things, I like to talk in threes because I feel like it helps me remember and it helps everyone I'm talking to remember. And the three things that I'm mindful of for us as women are that we are wise, that we are wonderful in our diversity, wonderful in our differences, wonderful in the things that unite us, and that we are, it's gonna sound corny, but it's true, that we are winners. And all of these things, I think, help support us in taking care of our mental health as diverse people. So when I think about this idea of wise, what am I thinking of? I have to be honest and say that for me, this wisdom was really reflected last night. I'm sure like everybody around the globe saw it, everybody on here saw it when I watched Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in the conversation with Oprah. The wisdom that I saw from her, Meghan in particular, in being open about her mental health as a multiracial, honoring all of who she is, a multiracial woman of color, was really important to me. It was important to me for a number of reasons that really have to do with how we as women can honor, center, and support our own mental health. Notwithstanding the fact that she talked at length about her mental health, I just want to talk about what she highlighted that I think it's important for us to highlight as women, as we take care of our mental health. She talked about one of the most important titles in her life had nothing to do with her profession. That was meaningful to me because we as women exist in all kinds of spaces, women and femmes. Some of us work outside the home. Some of us are professionals inside the home. Kind of everybody's a professional of some sort in the home now just because of the circumstances of COVID. But if we don't stop and take a moment to acknowledge those titles that have nothing to do with how we present to the world, but more to do with how we present to our own families, the people we love, the people who are close to us, whether that's family by birth and blood, or whether that's the family that we choose because they're the people who love us the most deeply. That the wisdom I saw from her in terms of how she centers her mental health was not only about how she signaled that mom is the most important title I will ever have, but also signaling that honoring her partner in saying, my partner saved me. It is okay for us as women to be strong and mighty and powerful, and to be interdependent, right? Independence is important. Interdependence is also important. We all need somebody. For some of us, that may be a partner of the same sex or same gender. For others of us, that might be a partner of a different gender or a different sexual identity. All of us need somebody. For some of us, it's just us. We find ourselves in periods in our lives where we really want it to be just us. We don't want there to be anybody else. But even in that, we all have to have someone we can lean on. And so listening to her talk about how important that was a signal to me of how we build our own mental health, build our own support systems to allow us to thrive. We need people who see us. One of the things, I'm gonna say the young women and mom, because mom and I think we're the same age. The younger women in the McGregor family that I recognize and acknowledge, and that was really meaningful to me when I had them on my podcast, was talking about their support of each other. That's what we need to be able to thrive with our own mental health, given the circumstances that we find ourselves in right now. So those two things to me really speak to the wisdom that is a part of who we are as women as it relates to surviving and thriving with our mental health. The wonderfulness, if that's a word, of women, the wonder comes from celebrating all the things that make us unique. We cannot honor who we are if we're all looking to be the same. We can't all be the same size. We can't all be the same shape. We can't all have the same hair color or the same hairstyle. We have to acknowledge what is wonderful within each of us. And part of how we do that is by taking stock. What do we do on a day-to-day basis to remind ourselves that who we are is enough? I think that none of us takes enough time to do that. So I learned from a young woman I also interviewed on the podcast, another young woman I admire deeply. Her name is Lexi Underwood, and she's an actress. She told me that her mom teaches her every morning when she wakes up, she's required to look in the mirror and say, "I love you." I hope that each of you will take a moment right now. And you might be looking at me, you might be looking at yourself where you are on the screen on Zoom. I hope that you will find a way today to look in the mirror and say to yourself, to look at your Zoom screen and look at yourself and say, "I love you." I love you is important because for many of us, the only love, the primary love that we're going to get on a day-to-day basis is going to come from us telling ourselves, because we find ourselves in situations where we don't feel love from the people around us. For some of us, we don't feel love from the people we work with. From some of us, we don't always feel all the love we would like to feel from the people we live with. I hope that that is not the case for you, but those things impact our mental health. And so if there's any part of you that has any questions about how wonderful you are, I'm here to say to you that you are wonderful. I want you to say to yourself right in this moment, I won't hear you, nobody else will hear you. Say it quietly, say it inside if you need to. I am wonderful, because you are. You are wonderful, as the girls know that I will say, the young women know that I'm going to say, I say it all the time. You are wonderful and you are valuable for no other reason than you exist. That's enough. You open your eyes and you breathe. That's enough for you to be wonderful. And I hope that you will always remember that you are wonderful, because that is what we need as a foundation to take care of, center, and maintain our mental health. The other thing that I want to say to you is that you are a winner. And I promise I'm not done, because I know I got like 7 or 8 more minutes. You are a winner. When I say winner, what do I mean? I mean that you get up, you go out, you do things for other people, you do things for yourself. I hope those are good things. In doing those things on a day-to-day basis, you are a winner, right? You're winning because you're still here. There's so many people, like, again, going back to the conversation, the interview that we watched last night, we heard Megan say that there were times when she felt like she didn't want to be here anymore, right? But she reached out for help. Sometimes that's enough for you to win, right? To win at this, it's not a game, but to win at this process that we call life, that we call living, as cliche as it sounds. So if you find yourself in a situation where there is a struggle, if you find yourself in a situation where you are weighed down, if you find yourself in a situation where it feels like the only way out is to not be here anymore, I hope that you will remember something that I heard Meghan Markle say last night. And I hate to keep going back to that, but I just feel like it was So powerful to see this young woman, a woman of color, a woman with her status, talk about how she took care of herself and how she was able to win. The way that she was able to win is a lesson for all of us. She kept asking until she got the right answer. And I'm gonna say it again. She kept asking until she got the right answer. The wrong answer was, no, we can't do anything for you. The wrong answer was stigmatizing mental illness. The wrong answer was, we don't want this to become public that you're struggling with your mental health. Why all of that is significant is because it's things that we've all heard ourselves. This is what I do. I've been doing this work for over 25 years, and I don't know that there's a day that goes by that I don't hear someone say to me, I'm afraid to ask for help because I'm afraid of what people will think of me. I'm afraid to ask for help, not because I'm afraid I can't afford it, not because I'm afraid there's nobody out there to help me, but because I'm afraid of what the people right in my family will say about me. People who come from my background, this is another thing that I hear, we don't ask for help. I've talked with many young people globally who will say things like, well, my family immigrated to this country or that country. And what we were taught is mental illness. I'll talk specifically about the context of the United States, probably relevant for Canada as well. Mental illness is first world problems. Where I come from, we don't have time for mental illness. There are too many other things. My parents are working 12, 20 hours a day. My siblings need support. I have to be the one to help support them along with my parents. I'm a mom and I have so many children. I don't have time to worry about things like mental health. That's not how we win. How we win, as I said, is we ask for help when we need it, and we keep asking until we get the right answer. Another way that we win as it relates to taking care of our health, not only surviving, but thriving, is we put ourselves first. That is often a challenging concept for those of us who identify as women and femmes, because putting ourselves first feels like we're being selfish. I learned many years ago from this author, an African-American woman named Iyanla Vanzant. It might be Van Zant. And I quote her often because I believe in giving credit where credit is due. And what I remember hearing her say, and I've never forgotten it, is that self-care is not selfish. Self-care and putting yourself first is being self-full. An analogy that I love to use when I speak publicly is to say to women, when you fly, if you have the benefit and the gift of being able to fly, what does the safety announcement that no one listens to, I know no one listens to it, but the one or two times you did, like those first few times you flew and you were terrified about what was going to happen, you actually listened to the safety message. That's how it was for me. You heard them say, whose mask goes on first? Yours. So if you don't put your mask on first, I always think about it like, if you don't have air, if you don't have oxygen, you're flailing around trying to get oxygen, and you can't help that person next to you who might need your help. If your mask goes on first, just taking that moment to focus on you, just that tiny moment, puts you in a better position to be able to help those around you. So this idea of putting yourself first, again, is not selfish. It allows you to be self-full. That is also how you win. The final way that you win, as I wind down, is you win by picking up habits and skills that are going to allow you to care for yourself. I think the younger McGregor women have also heard me say, active coping is key. I talk about this a lot. I had the opportunity, it was truly a gift, to participate in World Mental Health Day with YouTube. And I did a whole bunch of taping and they boiled it down. You know how that goes, to like 30 seconds. It wasn't even 30 seconds. I'm sorry, maybe it was 15 seconds. And in the 15 seconds, I said one thing, and I'll repeat it here. Active coping is key. What is active coping and how does active coping help you win? Active coping is the process of finding activities that you can do that help you center and
She was in the middle. Yeah, I think we lost her reception. Her reception.
We'll get her back.
Conked off. You guys, that was so good. Yeah, that was that. Dr. Alfie was just in the middle of sharing something amazing, and I think she just lost her connection, went out. And I know she was in the middle of sharing something amazing about coping. So we'll try and see if we can get her back on to finish up. But I just wanted to pop in and say how amazing, as you can see, why we invited her on here. She is just such a profound light in the world. I recommend that you follow her. Maybe if you can just bring up, follow her on Instagram. Couched in Color is a podcast. The girls were on there not so long ago, and the Acoma Project. So lots of great stuff if you want to continue to follow Dr. Alfie. Just like amazing. I'm just going to check one more time to see if she's actually, we lost her. That's too bad. She was just amazing. So I apologize. We lost her internet, I think.
We'll see if we can get her back.
We'll see if we can get her back at the end. But thank you to Dr. Alfie. We just, mad respect for you, Dr. Alfie. We just love you so much for so many reasons. And you guys just got a taste of all of that. The live internet, what are you going to do, guys? This is how it goes sometimes. So, let me just check one more thing here real quick and see if we have her on. No, she isn't back yet. That's okay. So we're going to bring up our next guest, actually, you guys. Just a huge thank you again to Dr. Alfie. So our next guest that we have on today sharing with us is the amazing Emily Lyons. This is another phenomenal person who I think I started following maybe 2 years ago. An amazing bright light as well. She is just an extraordinary person who has also been through, oh my gosh, so much in her life as well. She is just extraordinary at everything. She's a phenomenal entrepreneur. She has a staffing agency called Femme Fatale. She's one of the top entertainment, I guess they hire people for entertainment for events. So she has that. You can see all of her credentials here. She has a long list of accolades from her Femme Fatale media group. She also has an amazing charitable organization called the JewelsOfficial.com Foundation in honor of her sister who passed away far too young of cystic fibrosis. And she makes these gorgeous pieces of jewelry, watches, that a portion of the proceeds goes back to fund cystic fibrosis. She also has a brother that has cystic fibrosis, and she's just a warrior. I highly recommend you follow her too. She's incredibly inspiring. If you have a desire to pursue entrepreneurship, she will just fill you in on so many amazing tips on how to do that. So I am going to hand it over to the beautiful and amazing Miss Emily Lyons to take it away. Em, are you there? Where's our Miss Emily?
You gotta bring her up. There you go.
Let's see if we got Emily here. Is Em there? Emily Lyons, are you in the house? Oh my gosh, this is like, let's just see here. I know you gotta love like live Zoom and live events here. Let's just see.
She's in the panelist.
She's in panelist.
She's in panelist. Emily, can you turn on, ask to start video? Em, can you switch over to Emily? I don't know if, I think that's her. I'm not sure if she's got.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, there we
I'm
are.
having some technical issues here.
Oh, that's
I know
all good.
exactly. Okay.
Oh, dear.
Em Rousel, if you can just pin Emily. Em, I'm going to let you take it away. Thank you so much for being here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with my microphone and computer, but it's giving me a hard time. So I'm just gonna, if it's okay, I'm not gonna try to do the camera again because it was shutting down. So I will talk and you'll hear my voice. But thank you so much for the kind introduction. As mentioned, my name is Emily Lyons, and I am a Canadian serial entrepreneur. In 2009, without a high school degree and no money to my name, I decided to start my own business. I've never been one to follow the rules. But since then, I've launched and scaled numerous seven-figure companies in a wide variety of different industries, and I've gotten myself a good life beating along the way. So, resiliency is definitely my superpower. Honestly, between business and life traumas, I've really had to develop and foster resiliency literally every step of the way to be able to not only chase my dreams, but sometimes to just be able to get out of bed. And I truly believe it's like a muscle. And the more we use it, the stronger it gets. So, a bit about me that Kim touched on briefly. As a teenager, actually, it first started, I was a victim of sexual assault. And as a result of that, I battled substance abuse. Then in 2011, my sister, who was my dear best friend, passed away from cystic fibrosis. And after that, I really had to fight to find my way back. And most recently, I lost my mother to cancer suddenly. And I now care for my disabled brother, Christian, full time, who also has cystic fibrosis. But the thing is, bad things are going to happen. We're all going to have loss and setbacks and no's and failures. It's absolutely inevitable. Most of the time, it's not up to us when or what happens. The only thing that is up to us is how we respond to them. We can fall apart, or we can use these experiences to fuel us. And sometimes we have to do both. But the good news is that even if you're not a naturally resilient person like me, you can learn to develop it. You can develop a resilient mindset and attitude. And to do so, I'm going to share 10 tangible things that I learned and I incorporate into my life every day. So don't worry if you don't have a pen, you can DM me on Instagram if you like, and I will share them with you. So, number one, which is so important, is to learn to relax. It sounds easy enough, I know, but if you're like me, it's very tough. But when you take care of your mind and your body, and you're able to cope so much better with the challenges in life. So, develop a good sleep routine, eat properly, try out a new exercise, or use relaxation techniques like deep breathing or meditation. I have an app on my phone and I do a walking meditation every day. I get two birds with one stone. I also don't smoke or drink ever. That's just what works best for me. Number two, practice thought awareness. And this part is so important. Resilient people don't let negative thoughts derail their efforts. Instead, they consistently practice positive thinking. And I actually had somebody the other day ask me how I'm so positive right now after losing my mother and everything that's happening. And I said to them, well, because the opposite sucks. Who wants to walk around and be sad all day? So this means listening to how you talk to yourself when things are going wrong. If you find yourself making statements that are permanent or pervasive or personal, correct these thoughts in your mind. Number three, which is a little bit connected, is to edit your outlook. Practice cognitive restructuring to change the way that you think about negative situations and bad events. Number four, learn from your mistakes and failures. And this is so important. This is something that I really built all of my businesses on, was failing often, but more importantly, learning from those failures. So every mistake has the power to teach you something important. So look for the lesson in every situation. Also, make sure that you understand the idea of post-traumatic growth. Often people find that crisis situations, such as a job loss or the breakdown of a relationship, or in my case, the loss of loved ones, allow them to reevaluate their lives and make positive changes. And this is a term that I only found out about recently, and it's so powerful the more you look into it. Number five, choose your response. Again, remember, we all experience bad days and we all go through our share of crises. But like I said, we have a choice in how we respond. We can choose to react with panic and negativity, which I have done many, many times and still do from time to time. Or we can choose to remain calm and logical and find a solution. Our reaction is always up to us. Number six, Maintain perspective. Resilient people understand that although a situation or crisis may seem overwhelming in the moment, it may not make that much of an impact over the long term. So I always tell myself, if this isn't going to matter in 6 months' time, don't get upset about it. Try to avoid blowing events out of proportion, which is so easy to do. I know that. Number 7, set yourself some goals. If you don't already, learn to set smart, effective personal goals that match your values and that can help you to learn from those experiences we were talking about earlier. Goals is something that I focus on all the time, and it really helps me because I have something positive to focus on. It gets my mind away from dwelling on all those negative things. Number 8, build your self-confidence. Remember, resilient people are confident that they're going to succeed eventually, despite the setbacks or stresses that they might be facing. This belief in themselves also enables them to take risks. When you develop confidence and a strong sense of self, you have the strength to keep moving forward. Sorry, my dog's barking. Pippa? No. I'm also a dog mom of 4. I didn't mention that. You have the strength to keep moving forward and to take the risks you need to get ahead. Self-confidence is really, really tough. And it also goes hand in hand with imposter syndrome, which so many of us face. I myself personally have constantly had to actively reframe that narrative in my mind. Don't even get me started on that because that's a whole other topic and we'll be here for days. Number 9, develop strong relationships and find your tribe. People who have strong relationships are more resistant to stress and they're just happier. The more real friendships you develop, the more resilient you're going to be. Because you have a strong network to fall back on, I can't even get started on this. When I think back to when my sister passed away in 2011, I wasn't surrounded by many good people. I did not have a good tribe. When I lost my mom just a few months ago, I had so many great people in my life. And although the pain was still so unbearable, it was so much easier because I had those people all crowding around me. They were all there for me every step of the way so far. And at the drop of a hat, I know I can go to each and every one of them. And the difference is just astronomical to have that support. Also, remember that treating people with compassion and empathy is so important here because we truly don't know what someone else is going through. And number 10, which is again super important, be flexible with people, with life, with business. And I'm going to add one extra just for good measure: help others. Like Kim mentioned, I have a nonprofit, but giving back is my greatest passion. And the one thing that brings me true happiness when times are tough is helping someone else that has it worse, or just someone else, spreading kindness. So few ways we can grow and learn to be resilient. Thank you so much and happy Women's Day.
Oh, Emily, I wish we could have seen your beautiful face. We have yet to meet. We're actually in the same city.
Yeah.
And I am so looking forward to meeting you one day. I thank you so much for taking the time out. As I said, I've been watching your journey, and I'm so sorry for the loss of your mother last year. I was literally checking in with you every day on my own side here. And, that's one of the beautiful things about social media.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sending you so much love.
Thank you so much. This is so wonderful of you to do.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of those amazing tips. And I'm so happy that you said, just finding your tribe and the quality of people that you have in your life now versus, when you lost your sister. That is everything, right? It's that support group. And we are the 5 people we hang out with. So
it's so true. And I never knew,
Yeah.
I never realized just how important it was to have your tribe, your ride or dies, as they say, but just those good, solid people in your life to help you pick you up when you need it.
Yeah.
It just makes all the difference.
Well, and I applaud, what you are doing, what all of the panelists today are doing online, because people don't have to know you personally to be able to be influenced by you and all of the great work that you're doing and the empowerment that you put out every single day. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to meet in person one day soon, I know.
Yes, please. I'm
Yes,
going to hold you to that.
absolutely. Big love to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys, the live tech here, we've got actually Dr. Elfie is back in the room. We're going to bring her back up just to finish off her little bit about active coping mechanisms. And then we're going to finish off with Victoria Baldizero, who's in the house as well. You guys are like, there's not enough time in the day for all of this, but I'm going to let you I'm not even going to say anything. You take it away. Yeah. Thank you for talking. You left us in midair. We're like, no! Active coping!
So I promise it's quick, Em. I don't want to take too much any of your time, and I'm happy to hang around if people want to be in the chat. So basically, all I wanted to say about active coping is thank you so much, ladies, for bringing me back. I have no idea what happened, but it's okay. Active coping is really just about doing something. My mom used to say you don't define a term by using the word you're defining. God rest her soul. She passed away about 16 years ago. But active coping is really about engaging in activities, let me say it like that, that help you manage your mental health. And so for me, active coping is basic stuff. Are you drinking enough water? Are you exercising regularly? Even if it's just going outside and taking a walk, even if it's pacing around your house because being outside is not safe, whatever that is, some form of exercise. Are you getting enough sleep? The right amount of sleep for you, not what everyone tells you need, but knowing what's right for you. And are you eating well? I know that the McGregor family, I see them all over social media. I know they have amazing eating habits. I'm jealous. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to take notes. But eating is really important as well. And then I think in terms of active coping, it's really about always, as I said earlier, coming back to putting yourself first, making sure that you're communicating with the people in your life about what you need, creating space. As you see my little studio here with all these positive, encouraging messages, your space around you has to be cultivated to support you and to support your mental health. So that's active coping. And what I intended to say in closing was just to recap and remind you all that as women on International Women's Day, that I don't want you to ever forget that you are wise, as I said, you are wonderful, as I shared, and you are winners. And if you can just remember that, say to yourself, I love you in the mirror, say that you are wise, say that you are wonderful, say that you are a winner, even when you don't feel like it. I think that all of those things can go towards helping you have much better mental health and helping you, as the theme of today's day is, not just survive, but to thrive. So thank you so much. I'm going to turn my camera off and I'm ready to listen to Em.
Oh, wonderful. I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Elfie. And thank you again for popping back on and just allowing us to hear the end of that, because that is all super crucial and super important. And yes, we have to tell ourselves that we love each other all the time. That is so important. That is not being arrogant. That is self-love. And that's the most important thing. So thank you.
Of course. I love you too. I love you too.
Thank you. Well, you guys, that leaves us with our last beautiful panelist, Miss Victoria Baldizero, who is a competitive dancer. She was, for 7 seasons, she was Michelle on Hello, you beautiful soul. How are you, darling? She's an actress, a dancer, an influencer. She is such a true, beautiful soul, this girl. Her and Madison have such a great connection. All the girls were competitive dancers, so we sort of crossed paths a few times. And of course, you guys probably recognize her from the next step. I don't think I actually said that part. And she's toured all over Europe, you know, dancing. And we're gonna have like a little bit of a Q&A here, me and the girls and Miss Victoria here. So thanks so much for joining us. We are also fans of yours here. I know you were a guest on Team, which the mental health podcast that all 3 of my girls are a part of. Such an important movement. But what we love about you is just your honesty, your genuineness. And I think, you know, oftentimes, Vic, people look at someone like you who has such a beautiful career. You're an influencer and a celebrity, and you've got this great big following, but you're also just a real honest person who has had some challenges. And I know, you know, maybe if you can just share a little bit about how have you felt being on Instagram and being a source of, an influencer. And yet, I know this year has been difficult for everybody. How have you dealt with those challenges over the past year?
Firstly, I just wanted to thank you guys so much. I'm literally going to cry as well. For having me today. This is truly such an honor. And Dr. Alfie and Emily, wow, just absolutely incredible. I have never felt more inspired. So thank you so much for having me today, and even being on the same panel as these inspiring, beautiful women who I definitely look up to. And thank you ladies so much for having me. I think it's even funny to hear you talk about my career in that way, because I feel like, becoming an actress and a dancer and an influencer and all of these things that have kind of just led me to where I am today as an almost 23-year-old woman. I have been in this industry for almost 10 years now. I started dancing at a very young age, but also I got into the acting industry when I was super, super young, 12 to be exact, when I had absolutely no idea of where life would take me. And it was something that came across my path that I kind of fell into. And I ended up falling in love with it, mainly just because, who doesn't love the industry? But here's the thing too, is that it's come with a lot of struggles, as you said. And my conversation with Madison this past year about mental health spoke so much volume and realization into how I have been coping, and how maybe I have, over these last few years of my life, pushed that aside and not realized how important mental health and the world in the industry that I live and work in and breathe play hand in hand with each other, especially as a woman. I moved to Los Angeles when I was 19 on my own, and I want to bring it back to you again, knowing your tribe and knowing who is in your corner and understanding that that is so important. Without the ladies that have led me through my life and having the strength and the resilience, I love that word, that is so important. And I found so much strength in the word resilience this year. I don't think I could have done it. And we all say that because we're like, how would I have done anything without these people? But it's so important. And I feel like, I don't know where exactly I'm going with this part, but it's just that my strength and my willingness to actually dive headfirst into this industry as a female on my own has been because of my tribe and my strength in my mother, in my family, in my friends, and in people who I've always looked up to on social media, or just, acting wise, people who have always inspired me, that have driven me to even take the leaps that I have in my life. And most of them are women, which is absolutely incredible. We talk about how, there are so many female influences in our lives that lead us to where we are today. And it's just absolutely beautiful to even be in the presence of all of these ladies that have, taken these leaps and these bounds and have had loss and have had tragedies, and how we rise above and how we lift up. And yes, honestly, like anybody else on social media, of course, there's hardships that come with being in the spotlight. And I've definitely dealt with that. But like I said, I don't think without my tribe, without people who truly understand who I am as a female, as a woman, and what I want, where I'm going with my life and my dreams, it wouldn't have been possible. But that's also out of my own strength and my own dignity to even take that leap. So I hope that kind of covers that question. Yeah.
How do you manage those feelings of unworthiness? Because even though you are this like superstar on social media, right? Like because it affects all of us. We're all human at the end of the day. And I love some of Dr. Alfie's advice again, like look at yourself. I don't think it matters what your background is. What are the things that you do? Like, what are the top 3 things that you do for self-care to love yourself and to pick yourself back up again? Is it like phone a friend, phone your mom? Like, what are the 3 key things that you do to keep yourself feeling worthy, despite what's going on, despite whether you land the next job or somebody says something mean online, whatever it is?
I think I've realized, especially in this last year and having, hardships with the industry slowing down and whatnot, my first and foremost is the reason why I do what I do, which is passion. I've always rerouted it back to the fact that I have found so much comfort and passion in what I do. And that is the reason why I started doing it in the first place. So I feel like the first way that I would acknowledge, okay, am I feeling unworthy in my craft? Why did I start doing this in the first place? And that's passion. Number 2 is self-care. I take so much pride in taking care of myself, and whether that is acknowledging my mental health, doing those little things that make me feel better as a woman, and acknowledging my strength and how far I have come, and taking care of my mind, body, and soul, whether that be through working out, exercise, eating right, sleep, all of the above that we've all kind of talked about today. So that's definitely my number 2, is taking care of yourself and taking care of your mind, body, and soul. And number 3 would just be just staying driven. I feel like I have definitely faced a lot of unworthiness, mindful thoughts in my brain when I'm not on set, when I'm not performing for a bunch of fans. And this has been the hardest part for me, is compartmentalizing. Okay, when I've gone on tour, I'm in front of thousands and thousands of people who love my show or whatever it is, or love myself and my cast. And then when I go home, I feel like this big. And I've had to kind of compartmentalize those thoughts, and realizing that it is important to stay driven and to know that whatever is next for you is out there, and it's going to happen with time, and just trusting in the process. So I feel like those are the 3 things that I kind of have to reroute to whenever I am feeling those heavy thoughts of unworthiness in this path I've chosen.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter what we do when we're attached to the accolades and the big stuff, the accomplishments, the awards, the medals, whatever it is, we sort of lose ourselves a little bit, right? So I love that you said even just self-care, and, you know, Dr. Elfie said it, and Emily said it, that self-care component is so important. You know, the exercising, I know for us, there's a lot of, you know, reading and just learning what we want, like all that sort of stuff. Tell the audience and us, what do you do to edit out people that aren't encouraging? Like, we live in such an amazing world where everything is possible, but there are always from time to time going to be people, whether they're friends or people that just don't, they're not rooting for us, you know, they're sort of the naysayers, or they're not encouragers. What do you sort of edit out in a very polite way? Like, how do you manage that so that you make sure that that tribe around you is really the encouragers and the supporters?
This has been a hard one. Like, considering, like I said, like, you know, have been doing this for a while now. I've come across a lot of mean, hateful people in my life, especially through social media, which is so sad and disturbing. And I've, you know, just to give you like a little insight, and I'm sure we've all faced it as women, as we do. And unfortunately, a lot of the time that I've had those nasty comments or whatever, they have been other women. And this is something that I wanted to talk about today, is us lifting each other up and finding that strength through each other. But what I mainly do to edit out those people in my life that I have come across that only want to tear me down is acknowledging that those comments come from their own sort of feelings that they are dealing with. And it's hard to see that in the moment. And I definitely, when I was growing up, I didn't see it as that way. Whenever someone would say something hateful or untruthful towards me that I know in my own heart is not who I am and not what I believe in, I've kind of taken a step back to realize, well, that's not coming out of them just genuinely not liking me, or not, you know, being jealous, or whatever we try and say in our minds, whatever they may be feeling towards us, but it's actually what they are feeling themselves. And I have always stood my ground on understanding the fact that they might need to do a little bit more self-reflection, a little bit more time to figure out what they are dealing with and how to deal with it, and that it's not a reflection of who I am as a person, and that I will stand firm in who I am as a woman, regardless of what people say about me, or regardless what they might want to project onto me. And it's caused me a lot of harm. Of course it has. It's caused me a lot of body issues, a lot of just self-worth issues. But I've also had to realize, especially even having these important conversations with my parents, with friends, with family, with different groups, with different women, and realizing that whatever that person is projecting out onto you is not the truth. It is what they are feeling and what they need to probably unpack with themselves, and that you need to just stay true to who you are, no matter what people say about you.
That's so good to hear you say. And I think that's such an important message, because it is a tough world sometimes, especially on social media, where there is so much, everything that you said is so true. It's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of somebody that doesn't feel good about themselves, sadly, right? It's yes and release as much as you can. And I know that's easier said than done. When you're in the spotlight, like you are a dancer, there are, you know, Maddie had issues with body image and that sort of thing. I think dancing, and then just being a young woman, and then being on social media, it's like this compound effect. So I think that loving yourself and accepting yourself as that individual that you are, regardless of whether you're, you know, 18, 23, 52, whatever it is.
And I'm still learning. I'm like, we're all still learning, you know, it's hard, especially as a young woman navigating through all of these avenues, for sure.
Yeah. The last thing I want to ask you is, what would be your advice, like one major tip for, you know, young or old, that has just allowed you to sort of stay true to yourself? I know there's like an immense amount of learning, and I hate to tell you this, but it never ends. It's an ongoing process. It's great though. I mean, it is really there. It is an ongoing process to keep learning. But what is your best advice for people to just stay the course and get back up when they fall back, to, you know, get knocked over by comments or whatever it is, and to keep going and feel good about yourself?
I would definitely say one thing that's really stood out to me, and I think I heard this phrase when I first moved to Los Angeles, and it was just trusting in the process, trusting in your journey, and understanding that everything, it sounds cliche, but everything that has come across your path in your journey thus far has been for a reason. And it's always just trusting in the process of life, in what we are learning and what we are growing from. And it's been very hard, you know, it's hard to see that in the moment. It's hard to understand what the process might be, but we are all on the same journey of life. I mean, if anything has shown us that, it's definitely been the pandemic, because what a way to put every single person in the world in the exact same permission, in the exact same position in some shape or form. So I think it would just always be to trust your process and trust your journey. And yeah, I think that's really it.
I absolutely love, that's a great way. That's a great point. It is a process. I don't know how many times I say this in the house, guys, life is a journey.
Trust the process.
Because it is. And if we, you know, I think if we get caught up in thinking that it's supposed to be this linear path, that XYZ happens exactly the way it's supposed to, that's when we sort of face challenges. So just never. Look at today, perfect example, right? It never goes according to plan, but as long as you stay fluid and, you know, you can just trust in the process. I love that, Vic. Thank you so much. You are just a beautiful soul, inside and out. You're a little angel, and we're so grateful that we have you in our lives. And thank you for all the great things that you do and the great influence that you continue to create online. So we just send you lots of big love. Thank you for being here today. We're so appreciative. Yeah. Thank you. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to wrap this up. And thank you to everybody. Honestly, I just want to say a massive thank you again to Dr. Alfie for joining us today and imparting so much amazing wisdom. Please follow her online at Dr. Alfie, Alfie. She's got some amazing content every day. We follow everything she does. Emily Lyons, again, you can follow her. Thank you, Em, for bringing all that up there. There's all of the stuff that you can follow. Emily Lyons, she's Emily Lioness on Instagram, and she's got some amazing content as an entrepreneur, as a strong young woman, super resilient. And again, the wonderful Miss Victoria Baldezera, you can follow her as well on Instagram. And thank you again, you guys all, for being here. Thank you to everybody who took the time to join. We had 155 people register, and we are grateful for every single one of you that made it on this call today. I'm going to figure out technically wise how I can get this out to you if you want to watch this in replay. But we want to leave a little challenge to you at the end of this. And this is again from our friend Erica Heller, just to make this a nice little sandwich at the end. And that is, you guys, today in Women's Day And every day, honestly, there is nothing greater than going out and telling people that you think they're amazing. Start with yourself. Just as Dr. Elfie said, look at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself you're awesome. Do those power poses, right? And yeah, exactly. Do your power poses and tell yourself you are the most important person that will ever love you, and you will be with you for the whole journey of your life. So make sure you tell yourself you love each other. And then after you get off this call, go and message, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, however long it takes you, people in your life, girls, women, can be guys too. Guys are amazing as well. And let them know, say thank you. I want you to know I think you're amazing, because there's an opportunity if you go to IBelieveShe'sAmazing.com, and you can actually register and send a note to a girl or woman that you think is amazing. And there's a little message that says, hey, Sarah thinks you're amazing because. So I just want to thank every single person. And I want to give a huge shout out to M. Rousel, my girl. She has been with me coordinating this all the way. She is my right arm in everything that I do. She's the best assistant. I don't even know what she's like, my silent business partner in all these things. She's my graphic designer. So Emily Rousel, thank you. Follow her online as well, M. Rousel. And thank you all, you guys. Thank you for joining. Happy Women's Day. Love yourself. Share that love with everybody today. And we're so appreciative that you took an hour out of your day to spend with us. Let's have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Even elements.
Women's Day.
Big hugs, you guys.